With so much Shadow the Hedgehog related content this year has been hailed as the Year of Shadow, and I think that's quite an appropriate name. It kind of looks like he's been making a comeback, but did Shadow really ever go anywhere? When most people think of Shadow, he's regarded as the edgy character, but really there's more than meets the eye, as he's placed as Sonic's rival, but for what reason? Starting from the game he was introduced, Sonic Adventure 2, Shadow's primary motive throughout most of the game is revenge. And since we don't know much about him, he's presented as more so mysterious. Shadow is allying himself with Eggman because of his relation to his grandfather, and ultimately thinks that it's going to help him destroy the entire world. Shadow is actively playing against Sonic's role in the game, but through continuing the game, you learn more about Shadow's origin. He's initially created by Dr. Eggman's grandfather, Gerald Robotnik, as the ultimate life form, with his initial purpose being to help the sickly Maria, Gerald's granddaughter. Shadow and Maria form a very close bond, but unfortunately, Gun is more interested as Shadow as a weapon, and so Gun was sent down to the Ark to destroy anybody who was related to the project. This ends tragically for Shadow and Maria, as Maria is shot down by a Gun soldier. In Maria's final moments, she is ultimately able to save Shadow and also give her dying wish. However, in the present, those words from Maria were twisted into that of revenge, believing that is what Maria wanted. And it kind of makes sense. Mankind took away an innocent person. Why would they deserve a chance at their own lives? The truth is ultimately revealed thanks to Amy, and Shadow realizes that he's been wrong about Maria's wish all along, and remembers her true wish was to protect the world and let mankind have a chance to be happy. Realizing this, he goes to undo the damage he has caused, allying himself to Sonic and getting to the same end goal, trying to stop the Ark from falling off to the Earth. And this ends with his demise. Shadow is the foil to Sonic's characterization, whereas Sonic is living in the present, moving forward. Shadow is constantly stuck into the mistakes of the past, even though towards the climax of the game, they both have the same goal, but just different outlooks. Shadow was instantly a popular character. I mean, just look at his design. We're still going crazy over it to this day. But with Sonic Heroes, they made him come back, which was interesting if you think about it because he died in the last game. But he was popular enough that Sega wanted to bring him back, and this is where things get a little confusing. Rouge finds Shadow, yes, but there's many Shadows, so is this the real Shadow? And also, Shadow has amnesia now, so that character development is kind of gone now. The brightly colored Sonic Heroes leads us to Shadow the Hedgehog 2005, the game all about Shadow's moral compass. Shadow has to relearn a lot about himself, such as his purpose again, why was he created, with the choices to play good and evil all ultimately going towards one true ending, with Shadow deciding to choose who he wants to be and not letting the past define him and trying to path a way forward. But what the Shadow game also did was ultimately tie him down to being the edgy character. I mean, look at this game. Look at those advertisements. Damn. He also literally says, damn, in this game. Also the guns and the sick-ass motorcycle. This game honestly led to Shadow's reputation being seen as a try-hard edgelord, and this game ultimately looms over Shadow for years to come. Interestingly, I do think Sonic 06 did try to fix this, as the game shows Shadow working with Gun. This clearly showcases that he wants to move forward, even though Gun did ruin his life 50 years ago. And he's still an official member of Team Dark with Rouge and Omega. This game also continues his motive of not letting the past define him. He ultimately has to face that one day, those who he saves will fear him because of his power. In response to this, he delivers one of the coldest lines.
If the world chooses to become my enemy, I will fight like I always have.
Story-wise, Shadow developed as a character in this game, and it kind of explores the complexities that come with his new perspective on life. And Shadow is taking absolutely no one's crap here. He's not falling for anything like he did in the previous games. And then there are titles that use that edgy factor and turn it up as a joke. Sonic Boom is very much guilty of this, with him being very angry and having no reason to have beef with Sonic, but also this is Sonic Boom. Nobody's really written correctly here. It's a comedy series. It seemed to be like an ongoing trend with him just being the edgy one. Interestingly, I do think in Forces, in his very short DLC, Shadow inadvertently causes Infinite to grow into power. And also, he's still part of Team Dark. So in a way, Shadow does cause the events of this game to happen. Despite using telling instead of showing, Shadow does have an active role in this game. Jumping to more recent releases, Sonic Prime, for many, was a return to form for the character. Shadow wants the original universe that the characters call home to return and doesn't really see the shattered versions of everyone else as real people. Whereas Sonic sees these alternate versions as real, whilst also wanting to restore the home universe. Ultimately, they have the same goal, but they have different views on it. He's almost antagonistic in the earlier parts of the show, like he's literally preventing Sonic from doing what he wants to do. Not out of pettiness, but because he feels like the issue's too important and that Sonic wasn't taking it seriously enough. He ultimately comes to the realization that he needs Sonic to reach their mutual end goal, and tries to hear him out this time. Ultimately showing that it's not the edgy factor that makes Shadow Shadow, it's just his completely different outlook on the same situation. With Sonic Shadow Generations on the way and an accompanying animation, and of course the third movie, all of which are displaying aspects of Shadow's past. It really looks like they're exploring Shadow's character again. This comeback is displaying who Shadow is as a character, being a foil to Sonic and having major effects on plots, which showcases why the two are rivals overall. When done right, Shadow is a nuanced character. Both Sonic and Shadow want to do what they believe is right, but they have a different means and outlook on doing so, making Shadow the perfect antithesis to Sonic.